Let's talk about symbols. The symbols shown here are likely ones you innately recognize. They aren't just symbols that make sense for their purpose, they are symbols that are attached to their purpose. So much so that popular websites just expect you to understand what they stand for without you even having a language equivalent. Some of these symbols are just so iconic that they can be reduced to the size of just that, an icon, and still be recognizable. Just think about how many symbols you know. Humans can remember incredible amounts of words, with averages somewhere in the range of 40,000 to 80,000 words. I actually took a test to see how well versed I am, and apparently I know about 77% of the words in the English language, which is too many. Also, I correctly identified all of the bullshit words in the mix, which I am quite proud of. Humble brag. Anyway, the point is, humans could likely know just as many symbols as they do words. Or even more. I don't know. I couldn't find a credible source that studied how many symbols humans can recognize. Probably because it would be a crazy large-scale study that would take an immense amount of time. But seriously, scroll through the emoji library on your phone, or go look at some copy pasta or something. You'll probably recognize 99% of all the symbols there, if not all of them. And those are just a small subset of the iconograms that you know. You also know lots of pictograms, which are pictorial representations of complex facts, like the symbol of a man that you often find on a washroom, which indicates that only those of a particular sex are allowed into that room. That may seem like a simple concept, but just imagine trying to explain that concept to an alien who doesn't know the subtle yet impactful differences between sexes of our species and the many reasons humans desire that they don't mix when using the washroom for any of its many intended purposes. All based on a simplistic silhouette. Or think about the many iconograms you know. Not just the ones that are on your emoji keyboard, no. The iconograms that you know encompass any and all illustrative representations of things you might see in real life. Here are some icons from the Material Design blog, which are extremely simple iconograms, but you instantly recognize them. You know, this is a house, this is a compass, this is a slice of pizza, just from a few basic shapes arranged in the right way. You may not have even seen these icons before, but you instantly recognize them correctly, and therefore you know their meaning. Our human minds are made to recognize patterns, and symbols create patterns in everyday life. Just think about how many times you've seen this icon. It's just 3 parallel lines. What could that possibly mean? I bet you know what it means. It means menu. It's where you find all the page links on a website. It's where you find the settings in an app. It's universal and it's extremely simple, and therefore it's a very recognizable pattern. Oh, and by the way, it's called a hamburger menu. It's a hamburger. Yeah, the bun and the burger and the bun. 3 lines. It's a hamburger menu. Let's talk about more types of symbols. Do you know what a diagram is? Of course you do. Diagrams are functional representations of data, but technically they're still symbols. Think about a simple bar graph. The shape of this bar graph can be pretty much iconic, and it represents the data in a way that becomes easily recognizable. Without even knowing what the bar graph represents, you could tell me that it started high and then got low and then went high again, but like not as high and then went back to low, even at the size of an icon. Of course, not all diagrams are that simple, but they do often include lots of data in as simple of a representation as possible. Anyone know what this is called? If you said pictogram, you're kinda half right. This one's actually an ideogram in the context I intended it. See, symbols can have multiple categories, but usually have different contexts. For example, this Apple symbol is an ideogram when you intend it to represent the concept of the company, the one that makes iPhones and iPads and such. But it's also a pictogram when you intend it to represent a complex fact, like the fact that this apple with a bite taken out of it holds the legacy of a $1 trillion technology company. That one's also pretty tough to explain to aliens. The next two types are pretty similar. We're talking about logograms and typograms. On your left is a logogram. On your right is a typogram. Can you tell what the difference is? The difference is that a typogram is intended to be phonetic, which is to say you can read it left to right like a regular word, whereas a logogram is fundamentally the same, except that it's not intended to be phonetically interpreted. Urka. Ibum. Kun. Other than that, the two are both symbols that are literally comprised of other symbols known as letters and usually some iconic typography. Do you think you know enough about symbols yet? Can you accurately categorize a symbol? Yeah? Wrong. We haven't gone over the last type yet. How could you possibly categorize a symbol without knowing about phonograms? Well, to be honest, you'd probably get pretty far without knowing what a phonogram is. A phonogram is a type of symbol that is used to signify linguistic or other sounds, meaning that essentially the only example is musical notation. Unless you consider the whole viral trend where they show you an image and you could hear the image, like this one. But technically, even then, you wouldn't consider this image a symbol in that respect unless this image specifically only inspires your brain to think about the sound of SpongeBob singing and nothing else to do with SpongeBob whatsoever. So what have we learned? Symbols are pretty freaking powerful. If we were to go by the saying that each image is worth 1,000 words, then I'd say we all know an average of 40 million to 80 million symbols. Of course, that's not a fact in any way, shape, or form, but you can just about imagine it's the truth. Thanks for watching this video. This is kind of a new format for me. I'm trying out video essays. I don't know if this is considered a video essay. It's informational, it's video, so I'll go with that. Thanks for watching, and let me know what you think of it.